The Blood Crows had entered their 5th month under contract. That alone changed how doors opened. The MRB registry update came through quietly. No ceremony, no announcement, just a status change stamped into the system. Proven. It carried weight. Enough that the hiring hall clerks straightened when Diana stepped inside. Enough that mech fixers glanced up from their consoles and recalculated margins in their heads. It did not, however, come with money. The 10-day repair cycle from Harrow's Ford had ended without incident. But the cost ledger told a harsher story. Armor patching, actuator recalibration, coolant flushes, routine work, but relentless. The unit was operational again, barely, and the coffers were thinner than Diana liked. That was why she was here. The hiring hall. Most of the listings blurred together, green pilots chasing their first combat pay, regulars with inflated reputations, veterans priced like luxury goods. Diana filtered ruthlessly, discarding profiles that promised flash instead of survivability. Then she saw Kieran Voss. The file was understated. No marketing gloss. No inflated kill counts. Former Federated Sons line pilot. Previously attached to a Davian Heavy Guards battalion. Status veteran. Discharged, not dishonored, not decorated out, just done with the military life. The portrait told the rest of the story. A man in his 40s, eyes set deep, expression hard but controlled. Someone who had learned when to advance, and more importantly, when not to. Diana read the service summary twice. The Blood Crows didn't just need another pilot. They needed someone who could take risk, someone who could anchor a lance when the margin collapsed, someone she could leave in charge if she went down. Voss fit. Signing him meant draining the reserve fund to a level that made the accountants nervous. It meant accepting that the next few contracts would not be forgiving. Diana authorized the transfer anyway. The moment the contract sealed, the unit's financial status slipped into red. The mech market. The mech market was louder than the hiring hall. Fusion plants cycling on test cradles, stripped chassis hanging in mag slings, fixers shouting over diagnostic tones. Proven units drew attention here too, and not the friendly kind. A panther caught her eye almost immediately. The hologram rotated slowly, its right torso peeled open in the projection. The fixer beside it launched into his pitch. Long-range punch, reliable PPC platform. Just needs time. Diana let him talk. The diagnostic overlay told the truth. Structural fatigue, actuator lag, worn myomer bundles flagged for replacement. Nothing catastrophic, but the estimate glowed in hard numbers. Downtime, 25 days. 25 days was a death sentence. Even if the Blood Crows could scrape together the purchase price, the extended repair cycle would stall the unit completely. No contracts, no income, crew idle and burning upkeep, bankruptcy by inertia. Diana terminated the hologram mid-sentence and moved on. Further down the yard, something else waited. A guillotine stood half dismantled at the edge of the market, 70 tons of old Star League brutality resting on maglocks. Heavy armor, aggressive profile, a machine built to walk through fire instead of around it. The seller didn't pitch it. He didn't need to. Diana stopped anyway. The guillotine was everything the Blood Crows were not ready for. Acquisition cost alone was ruinous. Refitting a heavy would take months. Parts scarcity, pilot strain, MRB scrutiny. It was a commitment that required stability the unit simply didn't have. Not yet. She studied it in silence, then turned away. By the time Diana left the market, the situation was clear. One new pilot, no new mechs, no margin for error. Kieran Voss was on the roster now, a necessary gamble that had pushed the Blood Crows to the edge of solvency. The unit was proven, yes, but only just. One failed contract, one extended repair cycle, and the ledger would collapse. The next missions would not just be about survival. If the Blood Crows succeeded, heavier machines like the guillotine would remain a future possibility. If they failed, there would be no future at all. Mission briefing, Operation Iron Gate. Mission type, breakthrough, threat level low. Location, Red Span Crossing, periphery fringe, rimward of the Hachiman Corridor, pirate-controlled territory. Deployment time, 0400 hours pre-dawn. Weather is expected to be clear, cloudy with low moonlight. Intel suggests pirate forces activate in the region. Possible security detachment consisting of light mechs, numbers unspecified, hostile reinforcements possible. Mission objectives. Primary, forced passage through checkpoint and reach waypoint alpha within allocated window. Secondary, eliminate all hostile forces. Op 4, Cicada medium mech, Javelin and Commando light mechs. Guns emplacements possible. Threat assessed to be low. The contract is flagged priority urgent the moment it hits the Blood Crow's board. An unspecific package, sealed, bonded, and intentionally undocumented, must be delivered to a receiver beyond pirate-held territory within a fixed delivery window. Miss it, and the contract fails outright. No extensions. No renegotiation. The employer's terms are blunt. Delay equals failure, regardless of cause. The choke point is the Red Span crossing, where the Red Span Reavers have erected a checkpoint astride the bridge. The pirates are not intercepting traffic outright. They are stalling it, forcing convoys to idle, submit to inspections, or wait for clearance that never quite comes. It is a tactic designed to extract payment and intelligence, not to win battles. Time, not firepower, is their weapon. For the Blood Crows, that tactic is unacceptable. The delivery window is narrow enough that even a brief delay at the crossing would render the mission pointless. Rerouting is impossible. Detours through deeper periphery space would consume the remaining margin entirely. If the package does not cross the span now, it will not arrive at all. Recon indicates the pirates do not know what is being moved, only that something valuable is on the road. Their checkpoint is configured for intimidation and hesitation, not a sustained fight. If pressed hard and fast, the Reavers are expected to disengage rather than trade losses over cargo they cannot afford to lose men for. Commander Raven commits with that understanding. The Blood Crows are not tasked with clearing the crossing, negotiating passage, or punishing pirates. They are here to force passage under time pressure, deny the Reavers the delay they rely on, and exit the corridor before the window closes. The clock is already running. The Blood Crows drop into pirate-held territory under fading daylight, the kind that turns dust into a low-gray haze and flattens distances. The route ahead is split by a hard junction, two roads carved through scrub and broken urban sprawl, both leading towards separate extraction edges. Intelligence confirms the pirates control the corridor, but not how they intend to hold it. What matters is time. The package in the Crow's custody cannot miss its window. Delay means failure. And failure here means being swallowed by a frontier that answers to no house law. Route A runs straight through a reinforced checkpoint anchored around prefabricated structures and cargo stacks. It's the obvious path, and the most dangerous. Static gun emplacements dominate the approach lanes, their fields of fire overlapping the road and the narrow gaps between buildings. One pirate mech is confirmed in the checkpoint proper, using the turrets as force multipliers. It's a problem that can be solved quickly, but only if the Crows are willing to commit under fire and break the line in one decisive push. Route B curves south through a low-density urban strip where the road fragments between warehouses and service blocks. There are no fixed guns here, but scouts report two pirate mechs ranging the sector, using cover and short sight lines to set traps and counterpunch any force that overextends. It's a longer route, messier and less predictable, trading concentrated fire for maneuver and risk. If the pirates disengage cleanly, they could harry the Crows all the way to the edge. Raven studies the map in silence. There's no signal traffic, no movement pings to suggest which route the pirates expect the breakthrough to take. Either choice commits the unit and exposes their intent. The Blood Crows will have to read the ground, choose where to strike, and prevent a hasty pirate withdrawal that could turn this run into a pursuit. Engines idle. Timers tick down. The order when it comes will decide not just the route, but how much blood this passage will cost. The checkpoint wasn't random. The Red Span Reavers were a known pirate road interdiction cell, independent raiders who made their living choking trade routes rather than chasing targets in the open. They favored bridges, narrow passes, and fuel depots, places where speed mattered less than denial and confusion. Their machines were usually battered but functional, their pilots aggressive, and their defenses crude but brutally effective. This gate was one of their toll booths. Turn 1, movement phase. Between a safer approach and the promise of bonus pay and expanded salvage rights, Raven made the call. Straight through the fortified checkpoint. Waypoint Alpha, Raven said flatly. We punch through. The Blood Crows needed the credits. Liked it or not, Hammer acknowledged and fired her jump jets, arcing into the northern woods. The instant her Wasp touched down, perimeter alarms howled across the checkpoint. Sharp, electronic screams echoing between prefab buildings and concrete barriers. Inside the southern gate, a Red Span Reaver cicada pilot snapped awake to the alarms. He brought his reactor online and eased the light mech down the road toward the gate, intent on finding the source of the disturbance. Raven sprinted the Griffin forward, slipping into partial cover at the tree line while her sensors swept the checkpoint. Turret signatures spiked across her display. Static AC-5 and SRM emplacements, exactly the kind of cheap firepower the Reavers favored. The turrets need to go first, she ordered. Take their teeth out. Near the gate, a Reaver commando ducked in behind the SRM turret, jabbing a finger at his console while yelling into an open channel. Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. The hunchback lumbered forward beside Raven's Griffin, its massive autocannon tracking smoothly. At its controls sat the Blood Crow's newest hire, Kieran Voss, call sign Cold Iron. Raven had rotated pilots deliberately. Experience had to be earned, not hoarded. Hearing the comm traffic, a Reaver Javelin ignited its jump jets and leapt toward the gate, angling to support the commando. Turn 1, firing phase. Raven fired first. A crack of energy split the air as her PPC discharged, followed immediately by a ripple of LRMS streaking toward the autocannon turret. Both strikes landed true. The PPC tore through armor plating while missiles detonated across the turret's housing, shredding most of its protective shell. The damaged AC-5 turret slewed toward the Griffin and fired, but the shot went wide, slamming into rubble. Its targeting system whined as it began recalibrating. Nearby, the SRM turret also initiated its firing cycle. Hammer and Cold Iron held their fire. The range wasn't there yet. Turn 1, battle damage summary. At the end of Turn 1, the AC-5 turret took damage from PPC and LRM hits. No other damage took place for this turn. Turn 2, movement phase. Cold Iron, push up, Raven ordered. The Reaver commando crept closer to the gate, still hugging the cover of the walls. Raven advanced her Griffin deeper into the woods, keeping both turrets within firing arcs. To the south, the cicada broke cover, skirting the woods to set up a flank. The Reavers favored converging pressure rather than direct charges. Hammer fired her jump jets again, hopping deeper into the tree line, close enough to threaten, far enough to stay concealed. The Javelin sprinted up beside the commando, both pirates stacking behind the gate's defenses. Turn 2, firing phase. Raven ignored the rising heat warnings and cut loose both PPC and LRM into the AC-5 turret. The PPC burned straight through the weakened armor, and the missile barrage followed, hammering into the exposed structure. The turret detonated in a spray of fire and debris. Almost simultaneously, the turret fired one last shot toward the hunchback and missed again. The commando lashed out at Cold Iron with its medium laser and SRM rack. Both attacks missed, scattering sparks and smoke. Cold Iron answered, swinging the hunchback's torso toward the SRM turret. The AC-20 round screamed past, but both medium lasers struck home, gouging armor. The turret returned fire and missed. From the southern woods, the cicada fired both medium lasers. Green beams flashed harmlessly past Hammer's Wasp. Hammer stayed disciplined, holding fire. The Javelin, still running, couldn't get a firing solution and held its shot. Turn 2, battle damage summary. At the end of Turn 2, the AC-5 turret took major damage to its armor and structure, destroying the turret. The SRM-4 turret took damage to its armor. None of the mechs took any damage. Turn 3, movement phase. The commando broke cover, charging past the gate and into the woods on Cold Iron's right flank. Salvage, what is dead is mine. Raven held her ground, cross-referencing target data between the commando and the flanking cicada. The javelin vaulted the wall and landed behind the commando, lining up on Cold Iron's exposed side. Hammer jumped backward, positioning herself to cover Raven's rear. She wasn't charging recklessly now. She was watching her teammates' backs, just like Bullet would. The cicada burst from the woods, sprinting down the road and cutting hard toward Hammer's right flank. "Hammer, watch your rear!" Raven shouted. Turn 3, firing phase. The cicada opened up. One medium laser burned into the wasp's right leg, armor liquefying under the beam. Hammer twisted mid-jump and fired back, but missed. The commando alpha struck Raven. Everything hit. Laser fire scorched her left arm. 7 SRMs slammed across her left arm, center torso, right leg, and left torso. One missile punched into the arm joint, bypassing armor and tearing into the right arm internals, damaging the hand actuator. Raven snarled and pushed her heat levels even higher, firing everything back at the commando. The missiles vanished into the trees, but the PPC struck dead center, burning through armor and into the internals. The javelin targeted Cold Iron, unloading SRMs while jumping. The shots went wide. The SRM turret locked onto the hunchback and missed. Cold Iron answered. AC-20 and a medium laser struck the missile turret, obliterating it in a fireball. Turn 3, battle damage summary. At the end of turn 3, the Wasp took damage to its right leg. Giffen took hits on the left arm, center torso, right leg, left torso, and a critical hit to its right arm, internals damaging the hand actuator. Commando took a hit in the center torso into its internals. The SRM-4 turret took massive damage and was destroyed. No other mechs took damage. Turn 4, a movement phase. Raven jumped deeper into the woods, coolant system struggling to keep up. The commando shifted west, keeping Hammer in sight while staying under cover. Hammer jumped again, maintaining rear guard. The cicada plunged into the woods, hunting the Wasp. Cold Iron backed the hunchback into the trees, placing himself squarely between the cicada G-Az and Raven, acting as a shield. The javelin sprinted across the road, trying to keep Hammer within range. Turn 4, firing phase. Raven fired only her LRMS at the commando. They missed. The commando fired at the hunchback. The laser missed, but 5 SRMS struck, hammering the center torso, left leg, and left arm. Cold Iron rotated and fired point blank at the cicada. Everything hit. The AC-20 tore into its center torso, collapsing internal structure. Medium lasers followed, shredding the right leg and the remaining torso. The cicada died in a burst of flame. As it collapsed, it managed one last volley, a medium laser slamming into Hammer's Wasp, scorching her left torso. Hammer held her fire, systems still recalibrating from the jumps. The javelin fired at Cold Iron. Missiles scattered into trees and pavement. Turn 4. Battle damage summary. At the end of turn 4, Hunchback took missile damage to its center torso, left leg, and left arm. The cicada took damage to the right leg and massive damage to the center torso, destroying the mech. The Wasp took damage on its left torso. Turn 5, movement phase. The commando ran into the woods beside the burning wreck of the cicada. Raven held position. Cold Iron moved up alongside the commando's left flank. The javelin slipped behind the hunchback, lining up a rear shot. Hammer repositioned directly behind the javelin. Turn 5, firing phase. The commando Alpha struck Hammer. 5 SRM hit. The Wasp's right arm and right leg took internal damage. The left torso was breached. The center torso shuddered as 2 heat sinks were destroyed. "I'm taking a beating here. Someone take down that commando," Hammer screamed as alarms filled her cockpit. Cold Iron fired, AC-20 in both lasers, but everything missed. Raven fired everything at the commando. Missiles went wide, but the PPC struck the center torso, punching through the already ruined structure and ripping into the fusion engine. "The commando is last of our worry. Watch that javelin," Raven said. The javelin unloaded point blank into Cold Iron's rear. 5 SRMs hit the right arm, rear right torso, and rear center torso. The hunchback held. Hammer fired back at the javelin. Both medium lasers Reavers and 2 SRMs slammed into its rear, one laser striking the head. The pirate pilot reeled but kept control. Turn 5, Battle Damage Summary. At the end of Turn 5, the Wasp took damage on its right arm, right leg, left torso, and center torso, taking further damage to its fusion engine. The mech is now crippled and in forced withdrawal. The Commando took a big hit onto its center torso, destroying the mech. The Hunchback took missile damage to its right arm, rear right torso, and rear center torso. The Javelin took rear damage to its left and right torso, and a headshot. The pilot also took a wound in the process. Turn 6, Movement Phase. Raven repositioned the Griffin, covering her rear. Hammer jumped back to Raven's left, seeking protection. Cold Iron backed into the woods, tightening formation. The Javelin retreated as well, realigning on the Wasp. Turn 6, Firing Phase. Raven torso twisted and fired at close range. The PPC struck the Javelin's center torso, burning into internals. Heat alarm screamed again. The Javelin Cold Iron followed, twisting the Hunchback. The lasers went wide, but the AC-20 hit center mass, destroying the Javelin. The pirate pilot ejected moments before impact. The Javelin collapsed. Its final SRM volley struck Hammer, 4 missiles tearing into the right arm internals, right torso, and center torso. Turn 6, Battle Damage Summary. At the end of Turn 6, the Javelin took catastrophic damage to its center torso, destroying the mech. The Wasp took damage to its right arm internals, right torso, and center torso. Mission Debrief. Mission Outcome. Mission Success. Primary Objective met. Package intact. Secondary Objective met. All hostile units eliminated. Contract payout confirmed with bonus. Mission kills, Pirates tuned mechs, Cicada, Javelin, and Commando mechs. Turns taken 9. No mech warrior injuries detected. Friendly mechs sustained various degree of damage. Wasp, heavy damage. Replacement of body, weapon, and critical component necessary. Hunchback, light damage. Armor replacement recommended. Griffin, damage to armor and internals. Replacement of critical component necessary. Salvage granted as per contract class and applied. Salvage capped at 15%, non-negotiable. Post-battle summary report. Contract payout, 80 war chest points. Employer grants additional 40 war chest points to payout due to system error resulting in mission reclassification. Salvage payout, capped at 15%. 47.5 war chest point allocated. Total payout, 167.5 war chest points. Repair costs for 3 mechs, 150 war chest points. Pilot medical recovery, 5 days for fatigue. Medical recovery costs, nil. Net payout, plus 17.5 war chest points. Experience gain per pilot. 2 XP gain for mission victory. Addition 1 XP gain for Raven, registering 1 mech kill, and Cold Iron for 2 mechs kills. Blood Crows, reputation gained. Nil, level maintained as proven. Reputation 6, rating 3 stars. The Red Span Reavers were finished. Smoke drifted across the checkpoint. Burning wrecks marked where pirates had stood moments before. Another toll booth shattered, another choke point cleared. The battlefield went quiet. It was only after the shooting stopped, after the smoke cleared and the reactor cores cooled, that the truth became impossible to ignore. This had never been a simple 2-skull job. Raven pulled the contract data back up in her cockpit, cross-referencing it against the wreckage scattered around the checkpoint. 1 medium chassis, 2 lights, fixed autocannon and missile emplacements, a fortified gate designed to bleed attackers dry. She exhaled slowly. "That's not 2 skulls," she said over the Lance channel. "Not even close." What the Blood Crows had signed up for was supposed to be a light pirate interdiction cell, harassment duty, minimal resistance. Instead, they'd slammed headlong into a prepared Red Span Reaver roadblock. A medium mech anchoring the defense, 2 fast lights maneuvering aggressively, and 2 active turrets covering the kill zone. It was the kind of setup that got underprepared mercenary units killed. A priority transmission chimed in moments later, encrypted, official, and unmistakably corporate. the employer. The message was short, sterile, and carefully worded. Due to a technical and systems-level classification error during contract generation, Mission M12, Iron Gate was incorrectly assigned a Tier 2 difficulty rating. Post-engagement analysis confirms the presence of a medium battle mech, multiple light units, and fortified battlefield emplacements. Effective immediately, the mission has been reclassified as Tier 2.5. Payout, salvage percentage, and completion bonuses have been adjusted accordingly. Raven let out a humorless laugh. "System issues," she muttered. "Sure." It didn't change what had happened. The Blood Crows had already paid the price in armor, internals, and repair time. Hammer's Wasp would be in the bay for weeks. Cold Iron's Hunchback had taken hits it shouldn't have had to. Hammer climbed down from her battered Wasp, hands shaking but alive. Raven and Cold Iron stood together, looking over the damage. The Reavers had fought hard, exactly as their reputation suggested, but reputation didn't pay repair bills. They didn't say much. They didn't need to. They both knew the truth. They needed a better mech for Hammer, and the Blood Crows needed luck. They'd earned their name today, but the gamble came with another brutal repair bill. Thank you for your support and interest in the Blood Crows project. I hope you're enjoying the videos and the story-driven battle report format. You can help the community grow by subscribing to the channel and sharing the videos and stories from the Blood Crows campaign. Your support and engagement are the biggest motivation to keep this project moving forward. You're also welcome to join and support the Blood Crows Facebook community group, where more frequent and up-to-date battle reports are shared. Finally, your likes, comments, and suggestions are always appreciated and help shape future content. A Blood Crows production,